back with another YouTube video. Today we're hitting legs, shoulders, and a little bit of forearms. I gotta preface this video by saying I hate hitting legs so much. A couple years ago, I was training as a baseball player and we spent every day, Monday through Friday, just doing legs, or that's what it seemed like. And for an athlete, it's awesome. It's really good, develops a lot of power in the lower body, and it's really good for athletic performance. But after I stopped playing sports, I really didn't see a point of hitting legs at all. So I completely took it out of my routine, and for the past 2.5 to 3 years, I have not really been doing legs at all. And because of that, I developed a pretty big disproportionality in my body. My upper body was developing way more than my lower body, and I decided that after all this time, I had to do something about it. So I'm incorporating legs back into my routine. This is a pretty brief leg day we're going through since I'm just getting back into it. So I'm going to take you through the couple exercises that I do and a little bit of the science behind it. And here we go. We're starting out here with the Bulgarian split squat. It's a powerhouse for building single leg strength. It improves your balance, your stability, and your control, as well as fixing any muscle asymmetry within your body, within your legs. This is a great exercise because it develops your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes simultaneously. But let's think about the science behind that. So according to a 2014 study, the Bulgarian split squat activates your quads at 60% of its maximum capacity, with the major quad muscles getting about 670 millivolts of muscle activity. See, that's on par with a heavy barbell squat while maintaining significantly less spinal load. So you're putting yourself at way lower of a risk of injury while getting the same amount of quad exertion and exercise. Not to mention that this exercise also hits your glutes and hamstrings pretty well. Next, we have the yoga ball hamstring curl. This is a great exercise, again, for stability and control because you need to keep your core and hips tight and engaged throughout the duration of the exercise. But as it's stated in the name, this exercise is meant to hit your hamstrings. The hamstrings are what I consider to be the biceps of the leg, so it really responds well to a curling motion. Another good hamstring curl exercise that everyone probably knows about is the Nordic curl. This one is very similar, a little bit less muscle activity in this one. Moving on to leg extensions, they're all about isolating the quads. And similar to the analogy I used before, I believe the quads are like the triceps of the leg. In the way that straightening your leg all the way out is the way that it contracts fully, similar to the triceps in the arm. If you straighten your arm out, then the triceps contract fully. So this exercise really lets you focus on a full range of motion with the quad muscle being isolated. Another 2014 study states that quad activation peaks in the last third of the exercise. So you want to focus on the top of the rep and really get as much tension as you can at the top. And when you're going back down in the eccentric, I would go down very slowly so you can keep that time under tension and extend it for a longer period of time. Couple tips for this exercise is to adjust your seat so that your feet can be behind your knees so you can really stretch out the quad muscle and extend the range of motion a little further and get a good stretch all the way to the peak contraction. Next, we have the dumbbell Romanian deadlift, also known as the RDL. These are a staple for building your posterior chain, the hamstrings, the glutes, and a little bit of the lower back. This exercise is used very commonly for athletes as it does develop a great amount of lower body strength, especially in the hamstrings and the glutes, which are the bigger muscles in the legs, which makes it also the strongest muscles in the legs. According to this 2020 study, the glutes can reach up to 169% of its maximum capacity during the dumbbell RDLs or any RDL at all. And the hamstrings can reach up to 122% of its maximum capacity during this exercise as well, which is why it's such a staple for athletic weightlifting, performance, strength, And it also tends to help out with aesthetics and bodybuilding. And it's just a great overall exercise, whatever your training goals are. Some tips for this exercise would be to keep your back flat and your chest up so that you're not rounding your back at all and forcing any tension to go to your spine, which is very dangerous. Next, we have the calf raise. This is a pretty standard exercise, one of the more effective exercises for calves. This exercise is great because you can get a really good stretch all the way at the bottom while driving your heels up and getting a great contraction at the top. It's a very simple but effective exercise. Next, we're moving on to shoulders, and we're starting out with the dumbbell shoulder press. It's a compound movement that targets the front and side delts, as well as a little bit of the upper chest and the triceps, but we're focusing on the shoulders here. According to a 2014 study, the dumbbell shoulder press produces the highest anterior deltoid activation among column and shoulder exercises. So your anterior deltoid is your front delt, and that is exactly what you're hitting with any type of overhead shoulder press. But if you want those rounded, strong shoulders, this is definitely a go-to move. And this is also great for just developing overall shoulder health, which is crucial for training the rest of your upper body. Next, we have the bent over dumbbell rear delt row. This move targets the rear delts. If done a little improperly, it can tend to target the upper back. But if you want to really try to isolate the rear delts, a couple tips that I would give you is to focus on the concentric of the movement. If you go too far up in the concentric, you tend to hit your upper back muscles, which include your traps, and the tension goes away from the rear delts. You want the tension to stay in the rear delts. Next, we have the dumbbell lateral raise. These are the best way to isolate the side delts or the medial deltoid. If you're looking for that V look in your body, these are the best exercise to stem because you can go really low in weight here and you can do a lot of reps and really tire out that side delt, but it also helps it grow a good amount. Some form tips here that I learned actually from, I believe it was Jeff Nippard or Hanny Rambod. Put the dumbbells out in front of you, flare your chest up and keep your back straight, raise the dumbbells. This really tends to isolate the side delts and hit them the hardest. Any other variation could also do this, but it also tends to include the other muscles like the front delt or the rear delt. And next we have the forearms. I do some traditional forearm curls here, just forearm curls and then reverse forearm curls. One's for the inner part of the forearm, the other is for the outer. They're pretty standard. Traditional forearm exercises are built to develop grip strength. This one is not as much. This one is built to really develop the muscle in the forearm. I don't really hit forearms that much because they're a smaller exercise, so they get hit in any type of arm exercise that you do, maybe even some shoulder exercises, and they're smaller muscles, so they're accessory muscles for larger exercises and larger muscles.